All right, we back. We back. We got the coaches here. Have them introduce themselves. Starting.
Devin Gates, head coach, Leominster High School.
Aaron Canterbury, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, Leominster High School.
All right, coach. You guys have a lot of, there's a lot of noise around this team. There's a lot of, a lot of excitement around this team, especially what you guys did last year. What's kind of, which as a head coach, what's some of the things that you saw last year that's kind of that you hope is gonna carry over to this year that they took into the offseason workouts? So when you guys start the season, you be, off and running and like no setbacks like that.
Sure. First of all, last year is last year too. Right? We get a lot of good kids back this year. I think what we did really well last year was just our overall execution offensively, defensively too. Even though at times we had some breakdowns, we saw progress throughout the year, and we were playing probably our best defense towards the end of the year. So we're looking to capitalize on that moving into the off season and then the preseason here. But yeah, I mean, we got a kid who's, we got a 4-year starter at quarterback. We got a bunch of guys that have, we got Zach Oliver's played receiver since his freshman year. He's going to be a junior. Ryan Ricker too. So we got some guys who played a lot of ball. So they're pretty savvy with what they need to do in terms of making adjustments, talking with us on the sidelines, seeing how we're going to, how we're going to combat any problems that come up. But these guys just have their football knowledge now has grown. So I just feel like we saw a whole lot last year. We played CM, we played Zavarian, we played some of the toughest teams in the state, and I feel like our kids are hungry to get over that hump. So they're just super hyper focused on being able to get back to that position where we could be in the running for a state championship if that's possible.
Right, right. As OC, right? How much is life easier for you knowing that you have a 4-year starter as quarterback and you kind of understand, he fully understands the offensive system that you guys are running, and having command of that offense, right? How much easier does it make for you as part of play calling wise?
A lot easier, I mean, to put it simply. But I think the thing with him specifically is his coachability is next to none. Everything we work on in individual drills or on the board, like he applies it immediately, and we were able to, kind of like, he dipped his toes in his freshman year. He started all year, but he dipped his toes into the idea of the offense, and then it grows sophomore, grows as a junior, and like his ability to really like change a game and control a game is again second to none, and so it makes it so much easier for me because I can, almost like just pull a number out of a hat and call that play. So.
Right. And when you guys have like the unique skills players that you guys have on the team, right? How what's kind of like the mindset of like finding ways to put those skill guys in the right position for them to succeed and stuff like that is.
Well, offensively, you want to, I think Mike Leach said it best is like, you don't, a split offense isn't, a well-balanced offense isn't necessarily 50-50 run and pass. It's getting the ball equally into your playmakers' hands. And I think that just getting athletes in space and, our offense is going to change like based off what personnel we have, who we have in the backfield, who we have at receiver position, and we just try to get the ball into our athletes' hands. And Osiris does a really good job at making those decisions.
Yeah, coach. Getting to the season, it's always that long, daunting. Off-season workouts, the weight room, the conditioning, and then when you get to the season's so long, right? How do you, as a head coach, just find time to make sure you're right there? You keep a steady focus on what the final goal, and also you keep yourself focused because you have to deal with the kids. You got to make sure they're in school, make sure their grades are up tight. So like all the stuff that comes with becoming a head coach, right, is a lot of responsibility, right?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's a lot of work. I mean, thankfully, I have a great family. My wife's fantastic, and my kids are all involved in sports right now too. So that's really my outlet is being with them, helping them with some of the stuff that they're doing. Being able to go to their practices or their games. And my daughter plays flag, and she's in tournaments all summer long, so she's doing all that. That's alongside with our workouts that we do in the off season and everything too. But you really got to find your outlet. What it is that you do to keep it fresh for you too, and to make sure that you're at your best when the practices start, so you're on point. Make sure that we're not missing any time, we're not missing any days, we're not missing any opportunities to get better, because we played that week 1, the 1A against St. John's, Shrewsbury, and so that's a short window for us to get ready, shorter than some other schools. So we really got to be on top of everything that we're doing, and that's we meet as coaches in the off season, develop our plan, our practice schedules, making sure that we're hitting everything that we want to hit before we're getting into that first game.
Yeah. Going into that first game, what would you say kind of, when you look at your team wise with everybody you coming back, what do you say is like, okay, this stuff, we'll work on it during the off season, but I think like at this point in the season, this is gonna be way better than what it is when we first got into camp. Which like part of your offense or defense you kind of looking at, you're gonna see like this might be a little work, but when they get it going, this is gonna be really really good thing going.
Well, defensively for us, we lost an all-state player and Xavier Core, who's a middle linebacker for us. So like linebacker for us is gonna be open competition. That's what 7-on-7. I mean, obviously it's not padded up football, but it's an opportunity for us to kind of see how kids move, see how they communicate, all that stuff too. So we really had a productive offseason 7-on-7 wise. So defensively, really, that's the competition we want to take a look at and see how see how those linebackers grow. We're excited about a lot of the young guys that we have. I think they're going to come in there. But again, we talked about we push competition. These guys all know like the spots are open and they're going to be working for it. So we had a lot of commitment to the weight room with kids in the off season and cabins practices and stuff like that. But in terms of developing a plan and everything too, it's really and we talk about it constantly. It kind of evolves. Like we went through 7-on-7 and see how certain players that showed up in 7-on-7 that we weren't didn't necessarily feel like or know that they were going to be executing like that. So it kind of like it gives us some more options. So we we don't want to try to do everything under the sun. We want to see, like Coach said, like, well, who are our best athletes? What do they run best? What do they do best? And we got to try to put them in the position to be successful from there.
Right, Coach. As you look statewide, it's just like the talent pool in Massachusetts, right? You guys have a lot of talent. A lot of these schools have a lot of talent, right? And then you see some of the recruiting stuff that comes out, and you're seeing a lot more kids from Massachusetts schools, getting that national recognition, right? What do you think it does, especially in Leominster, for the young kids that are, that aspire to be football players, where they see a guy like Osiris, he's get a 3 or 4 star rating, and he's going to Coastal Carolina, and he was able to do that at Leominster and not go anywhere else.
Well, I think that it really tells these young kids, number one, that you don't have to go and pay out of pocket or go away from your friends that you didn't grow up playing with, like, to get looked at. You can go to a public school and get looked at. I think that that's huge. But really, like, if you really want to see something special that truly like warms your heart, you go down to Doyle Field in Leominster on a Friday night and you see how excited these kids are, not just to see Osiris. Obviously Osiris is like a big to do, but to see all the guys and how excited they are just to touch hands with some of the players, and then they're staying afterwards to take pictures with the kids. Like, I think that for the quality of football, I think that that's going to help a program in the long run. That's going to help any town, any community in the long run. I think football teaches a lot of great lessons in life. So young student athletes getting into that sport, you can learn a lot, and I think that players like we have and the program success that we've been having is only going to help Leominster in that sense.
Yeah, Coach, you just talk about the community coming to the games there, right? How good does it make you feel when you guys have a packed stadium on a Friday night where everybody in the community is there to support them? Not even on a Friday, but throughout the week. As far as you guys doing fundraisers or you guys just doing something at the school for the kids, like you guys have the entire community there to support you guys.
Yeah, and Leominster is a huge football town. I mean, a huge athletics town, as it is anyway. But there's really nothing like Doyle Field on our Friday night pack with the band, the cheerleaders, student body. Again, like all the young kids that come out, the middle school kids, elementary school kids. It's just a great atmosphere, and just the way the stadium is. It's I mean, I'm not trying to put anybody else down. I really put up our game day experience, up against anybody in the state, that's for sure. As far as like Massachusetts recruiting too, I think we're coming along. I don't think we're, as dry of a recruiting area in the NCAA as it's been, the past couple decades. I think, and even despite some of the hamstrings that we have, like not having spring ball and stuff like that, which I feel like we do that and develop these kids a little bit more than we have as coaches. It's frustrating not to be able to have, some of the access that some of these other states do with kids where we see the talent that could be developed and could reach better potential before they even get to NCAA. So I'm hoping that's something that will eventually change in Mass and maybe get a little spring ball. But I think Mass recruiting has come a long way, and I think it's only going to grow from here.
And lastly, the biggest thing during football, basketball season is that strength of schedule, right? How important was it for you to go find those teams that that are going to bring the best out of you guys, that you guys are going to bring the best out of them to get them on the schedule? just for competition wise, not only for competition wise, but the strength of schedule wise, and when these ranking comes out, so you guys can put yourselves in a good position down the line during the season.
Yeah, we have to take all that stuff into account, right? This is the way that the model is. But again, that's kind of our mentality anyway. We want to play the best to get where, like Leominster back in the day, in the '80s, or early '90s. I mean, they were competing for state championships all the time, and that's what we strive to get back to, is that tradition. And you don't get that way by playing teams that that you could probably beat. We want to make sure that we're challenging ourselves and putting ourselves in a position so if we are lucky enough to get to the off season and in the postseason, that we're battle tested and ready to go against some of the best teams in the state.
Definitely. Week 1, St. John Shrewsbury.
St. John Shrewsbury week 1, the Milford week 2. Yeah, so it's a good 2 out of conference games to start.
I mean, yeah. Week to week is you better be on your A game. Any one of those teams that we play in our regular season schedule can go out and punch anybody in the mouth. So it's exciting to see the kids rise. Our student athletes rise to that challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you go down to Doyle Field. I didn't make it last year, but I'm making it to Doyle Field this year. I'm going down there. I seen the videos. I seen the excitement. I seen the packed stadium. So I'll be there. I'll be there definitely. Make sure you go check them out. You guys have a social media page that you want to plug in?
Yeah, just I think it's just Leominster. Is it Leominster Blue? Yeah, if you search up Blue Devil Leominster football on X, you should probably get it, and on IG too.
All right, definitely, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you.
luck on
Appreciate it,
this
man.
season.
Appreciate it
All
very much.
right, we're out of here.